Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the Daily Office Lectionary. Today for Friday, I thought we'd kind of do a little deviation and look at the Old Testament lesson that's assigned for morning prayer. Now, we just finished recently Genesis, and we begin the book Exodus through the lectionary, and it begins with the story of the death of Joseph. Remember the story of Joseph being led, being sold into slavery by his brothers, and then of course he becomes the ruler just underneath Pharaoh. And when the great famine comes to the land, Joseph is the one who saves not only the people of Egypt from starving to death, but saves the people of the Jews. And for that, Pharaoh is so grateful that he brings the Jewish nation into Goshen, the part of Egypt, with their cattle, and they become very prosperous servants, and Pharaoh is very grateful. However, we know hearts will change, and now the book Exodus is going to set up the story of Moses. So we're at Exodus chapter 1, beginning at verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come now, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also with our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, that they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grow. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with vigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all the manner of service in the field. In their service, wherein they made them serve, was the rigor. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Now, of course, we know what the setup is for this, of course, and that's that Moses is going to be one of the children that they're going to put in the river to die, and of course, he will be rescued. He's put in a basket, and he'll be rescued by Pharaoh's daughter. But that's getting ahead of us. So you're always welcome to read ahead in the story. But of course, this kind of shows us a bit of how fickle it is that human nature is. You've got, at one point, a nation is so enamored with a group that has helped them, and then a generation or two happens, and all things have turned around, right? And then suddenly you've got a Pharaoh who does not know about Joseph, or if he does, it's a very distant memory. And what they fear now is that the people of Israel, this ethnic group that is not Egyptian, that the ethnic group, if there's a war, they'll join sides with their enemies and overtake them. The people, apparently the Jews, were very prolific in reproducing, and so they were growing by leaps and bounds. And so first they put them into bondage, into slavery, and of course that's a major part of the Jewish identity, is that they were released from slavery by the intercession of God, by the intercession of Moses to God, and God, of course, works that miracle out with them being freed, the Passover and passing through the Red Sea and all that good stuff. So we see God at work in a miraculous way, that way as well. But it'll take time for this to build up, and this story will start with the first of them being put into bondage, and then, of course, will work its way into having Moses born, and then the story jumps forward a few years to Moses as a grown man. So anyway, so again, these are part of that historical narrative of the books of the Bible that help us to understand God's relationship with the people of Israel. And of course, it will change in all sorts of miraculous and wonderful and sometimes terrifying and unfaithful ways as we work on the great exodus through the desert on their way to the promised land. So today's Friday. It's Friday in Lent, so we do have 11:15 Mass today, and we have Stations of the Cross at noon. And I do hope that you'll be able to join us here in church. I hope your Friday, your day of abstinence, right, and fasting, right? Today we abstain from flesh meat on Fridays in Lent. I hope that your Friday is full of blessings.